Good evening, fellow patrons. In today's video, we are diving into the hardcore version of the Reckoning boss fight against the notorious Richtofen. If you watched my previous video, you may be familiar with the strategy that I use, but I tweaked some of the parts to give people who decide to use it the best chance of success. I also go into more detail about the various stages of Jetpack Ricky. Contrary to what most people think, it doesn't take a perfect run to successfully beat Richtofen at round 100. With this strategy, there is room for error, so don't panic if you make a mistake mid-game. You'll be good. I will have chapters throughout the video marking all of my tips to successfully complete this round 100 boss fight. For your primary weapon, I would 100% go with the GPR. I do rank it ahead of the AMR, Maelstrom, and the DM10 in terms of effectiveness for this boss fight. I will get into its build later on in this video, but it essentially has no recoil, excels against armor, and is both mobile and rangy. All of these characteristics are essential for this boss fight. For your melee weapon, I would go with a weapon that has fast to very fast attack speed. I have yet to try out the boxing gloves, so as of now, the size are still my goat, and if you have those unlocked, I would recommend you use them. They one-hit regular zombies at health cap, and it's a two-hit kill for armored zombies. You can spawn in with whatever equipment and field upgrade you like on the way to round 100, but just make sure you have stims and AETHER shroud going into fight Richtofen. This is what I would recommend you take into the boss fight. Just FYI, when you're looking for a base blueprint, look to see if you have one with an ammo tracer, which is represented by this bullet symbol. These tracers act as a mini ammo mod and do more damage against special enemies. I believe this vault security blueprint is Deadwire, but not entirely sure. I do know for sure that the Rampage blueprint you see on screen has Shadow Rift as its mini ammo mod. The augments will not activate, but the gun will have more damage in its bullets. It's not a game-changing damage boost, but hey, if you have one, might as well use it. The CHF barrel is not the move in this boss fight, in my opinion. Essentially, all your shots will be non-crits, so there's no point in adding unnecessary recoil to the gun. A lot of your shooting in the Uber Richtofen phase will come at a far range, and you don't want your damage output to drop off at this point. Looking at the stats on screen, the damage of the long barrel drops to 19 if you are below 64 meters from your target, while the base barrel drops off at 45.7. The launcher is a must for obvious reasons. I will go into detail about where and when to launch the grenades in a different segment. The rest of the attachments are personal preference. The next segment is about which augments to use, which I pulled from my previous video. If you have seen it, feel free to move on to the next chapter. Starting with stamina, make sure you have the head target augment equipped, as this will mitigate the damage you take from the flying electricity orbs that are shot by Richtofen and Uberklauses. Supercharge from Speed Cola and Feto upgrade from Vulture Aid will help you charge your special upgrade or field upgrade as fast as possible. Most of the shots that you land on Richtofen will not be criticals, so the double standard augment from Double Tap makes a huge difference in terms of overall damage output. The Tribologist augment from PhD Flopper will allow you to traverse the arena much more quickly. Espresso and Stick and Move augments from Melee Macchiato will help your melee weapon maximize its kills when you are trying to upgrade your field upgrade or charge your field upgrade. The major augments of AETHER Shroud are really not necessary. I would advise against the Burst Dash augment, as you do not want your character's position to be altered when you're activating the Shroud to shoot him. The strategy can work with both the extra charge or extension augments. However, I do think the extension augment makes it easier. If one of your attempts is not going your way or you went down and lost all of your perks, you can save and quit your game, load back in, and the game will begin at the beginning of that round with all of your perks and score streaks. Here's a snippet of me dying on my first attempt at 103 and then restarting the boss fight at 104. Just make sure that after you load in from your save game that you progress at least one route so you can save and quit again. Self-revives, gobblegums, and dying wishes will not be given back to you, so if you go down and save and quit, make sure you buy another one.
I have no hope. This is about revenge.
Right when the lift starts to raise your character to the soulbox room, maintenance Klauses will spawn in instead of commando Klauses like in the original version. These things are extremely tanky and inflict damage up to 75 health points with one electric orb, so I would definitely bring in a death machine and shoot them as they descend to the platform. The soulbox room is basically the same. It's pretty easy in my opinion. All you have to do, especially if you have the wonder weapon, is to camp in a corner, charge it, and kind of let it do its thing. So yeah, I use the Gorg effects as my secondary, which is probably the fastest way to complete the 3 soul boxes. This area is a pretty good way to charge up your field upgrade if it's not charged already. And most of the zombies that spawn in this room are going to be armored zombies. So if you don't have any plates or short 1 or 2, this would be a good time to stock up on those before you go to the next platform. The crystal room is extremely stressful in my opinion. The crystals you have to shoot are extremely hard to see, and when you do get off the platform, a handful of maintenance colossus will spawn in. So I would definitely deploy the death machine and shoot as many as you can. Don't sit in one spot for too long with the death machine, because you are so slow with it, they will be able to hit you with their electric orbs, so be cautious of that. And if you do get in a jam, it is not the end of the world if you have to use a charge of your Aether Shroud. You will have the ability to charge it on this platform, and then again before the second phase where Richtofen is flying around in the jetpack. So if you do use your charge, you need to be extremely patient when you charge it during the Uber Richtofen phase, or you most likely will go down. Not ideal, but the first phase for me was 41 minutes long because I had to charge my field upgrade because I used it on the crystal platform. Prior to leaving the crystal platform, stop by the crafting table and get a fresh score streak, armor, and equipment. If you do not end up having to use your field upgrade like I did, your goal should be to get Uber Richtofen below 20% health before eliminating the bulk of the other zombies. This will reduce the zombies that will spawn in during this phase. Upon entering the arena, immediately focus on shooting Richtofen's shoulder pads. You should be able to deal a good amount of damage prior to the maintenance colossus spawning in. Do not shoot them like you see me doing momentarily. Killing them repeatedly will only cause more to spawn in. Unfortunately, because I had to charge my field upgrade, I had to eliminate them as fast as I could, and spending 40 minutes plus running around an arena where I could barely see was honestly kind of miserable, but I was able to fully recharge my Aether Shroud, so I guess it was worth it. But after you make a few laps around the arena, Uber Ricky, the Uber Klauses, and the maintenance Klauses will be clumped all together quite a bit of ways from you. And at this point, you should focus on getting Uber Richtofen down to around 20% health. And once you're able to do this, then turn your attention to the other Klauses. So bring out your minigun if you have one. It is really important that you do not kill Uber Richtofen by the way of collateral damage when you are finishing off the rest of the Klauses. Once it is just you and Rick, make sure both of your guns are full with ammo prior to getting into this next part of the strategy. Another tip for evading the electric orb shots is to run around and along the metal fence on the perimeter of the arena. Most of the shots from the Klauses will either fall short of you or they'll go over your head and out of the arena. This part of the boss fight is the most crucial in my opinion. I've included the entire gameplay from this phase of the fight as it is extremely fast paced. Right after you eliminate Uber Richtofen, Jetpack Rick will fly around the arena for about 10 seconds prior to flying away. You do not want to use your Aether Shroud at this point because the extended Aether Shroud lasts for about 16 seconds. So if you were to activate it at this point in the battle, about 6 seconds of that shroud will be wasted. So that is why the smoke grenade is the perfect tactic to use here. The goal is to inflict enough damage before he jets off to where you will be able to make him immune when you use your first charge of Aether Shroud when he touches back down. So to do this, you need to deploy your smoke grenade in a place where Richtofen is visible for you to shoot for the longest time possible. The best place for this is the center of the arena. You will need to lure him into the same area that you see me at, and this is why it's my opinion essential to make sure Richtofen is the only enemy left in the arena so you can properly position him prior to entering the cloud from your smoke grenade. So once you kill him, deploy the smoke grenade between these two pillars as you see me do here in just a moment. But be sure to not run over to where you launched the grenade until the smoke cloud is visible itself. Because if you do run over to where the grenade is prior to the smoke releasing, Ricky will be able to see you through the smoke and zap you with his Wonder Waff. The great thing about deploying the smoke in the center is that regardless of which direction Ricky starts flying, you will be able to have a clear line of sight on him to be able to shoot him. So if you are able to inflict about the same amount of damage as I did in this clip, you're in really good shape for the remainder of the fight. As you can see, I had a massive mental blunder and thought I needed to refill my shroud, which caused me to detonate the C4 that I had placed around the map prior to entering the final encounter. And honestly, I didn't even realize I had done this until I watched the gameplay back. Definitely was a bit nervous for this one. But once Ricky takes off into the sky for the first time, you have around 15 seconds before he touches down in the arena again. The moment he touches down, you will need to activate the Aether Shroud that you should already have charged up. And like I said earlier, the goal is to make him immune before this shroud ends. After he becomes immune, he will fly away from the arena for about 1 minute and 15 seconds. You will need to recharge your shroud before he re-enters the arena, and there is 3 ways that you can do this: by killing zombies with your weapons, gobblegums, or using the C4 trick. What I like to do before entering the boss fight is to plant C4 on the full power, insta-kill, and nuke power-ups. I will show their locations on screen now. You can detonate the C4 even if you have switched your lethal equipment, and the power-ups will spawn in the location wherever you detonated the C4. Before his re-entry and after he turns immune for the first time, Ricky will do a flyby and drop carpet bombs. This is your warning, he is about 15 seconds from re-entering the arena. At this time, look up in the sky to locate him. Once he touches down, activate your second charge of Aether Shroud, and in this phase, we are shooting the smoke grenade just before the shroud runs out. Ricky has one attack where he flies through the middle of the arena and starts dropping bombs beneath him. This should be your signal to find a good place to pop smoke and ready your launcher. The timing is important because you will want to be well within the smoke cloud whenever Aether Shroud ends. If you are accurate in the second charge of your shroud and the second smoke cloud, you should be able to get him down below half health, which is when he will become immune for the second time, and then he will leave the map again for roughly 1 minute and 15 seconds. Unfortunately, I was not accurate enough to inflict enough damage to make him immune, so if you do not see the immune wording on his person before he launches into the sky, that means he will be returning around 15 seconds and not 75. So be prepared for his quick re-entry if your damage output falls short of his immune stage. At this point, it's a repeat of what we did after the first phase. If you have a full power or range ops, pop those. If not, you will need to kill zombies extremely quickly to get your charge refilled. I would recommend Arsenal Accelerator and Shields Up for the part of the battle where you will be working to recharge your special with weapons. You will need to make the most out of whatever aid you have left, as this will be the last 1 minute and 15 second break of the fight. You will more than likely need to pop a few smokes after he touches back down to start the third phase. This does take a lot of practice, but it is easier than you think, I promise you. Let me know if y'all have any questions. My next video, I will be taking on the hardcore version of Sam, so stay tuned for that. I really appreciate y'all watching as always. JJ out.